Hey guys, Chef Tom here today with one mission and one mission alone, and that is to answer the question we are all dying to know: will it taco? Now, every week as we're producing these videos, this recipe content, we end up with some leftovers, and those leftovers end up here in this refrigerator. And when the BBQ crew when the BBQ crew shows up hungry, we start digging through here, pulling stuff out, and typically the first thing we ask ourselves is, will it taco? Now, admittedly, we're gonna make this first episode pretty easy. I've got some of our Beef Tallow Smoked Brisket left over from earlier this week's video. Go check that out if you haven't already. We know that brisket will taco, but we're really gonna do it up today with some breakfast tacos. So we're gonna do some brisket breakfast tacos. We're gonna make some salsa de arbol from scratch. We're gonna do a little bit of hash with it. It's gonna be fantastic. All right, we're gonna do some salsa. We need some tomatoes, some tomatillos, a little bit of lime, some garlic. Do kind of a potatoes O'Brien situation here with some Yukon Golds, some onion, some jalapeno. Of course, we're gonna have an egg on there. Oh, almost forgot. One of my favorite parts, caramello tortillas. Shout out to those guys. Thanks, Ruben, for sending us some. These are the tippity top of the totem pole. This is as good as it gets when it comes to flour tortillas. All right, so we are gonna carry this stuff outside. I'm gonna do a little bit of knife work, and then we'll meet you guys at the Griddle. We've got the Griddle fired up, nice and hot, like all the way up right now. We're gonna make our salsa ingredients first. We're just gonna toast off some tomatoes, some onion, get a tomatillo, a little bit of garlic. It's gonna get some color on these, start to soften them up, and then we're gonna throw them in the blender. All right, these are softening up. We've got some char on them, so we're gonna take these off, go right into the blender with them. They should have a little bit of squeeze to them, and you want some of that black on there as well. Our garlic, and give our onions just a little chop before we throw them in the blender. All right, now before we finish out this salsa, I'm gonna get our potatoes going. We've got a little bit of that tallow that we rendered out of our brisket. You guys can go check out the video on how to do that if you haven't yet. I'm gonna cook our potatoes here in the brisket fat. We got Yukon Gold, onion, jalapeno. Like I said, this is kind of our potatoes O'Brien, which you could always just grab a bag of that frozen stuff. I'm gonna grab a little bit of seasoning here, turn the heat down just a little bit, and we'll close the lid to let this cook. Just gonna hit this with a little bit of the trail dust all-purpose. All right, so to finish out this salsa now, we've got our chilies de arbol, about 30 of those that are gonna go in here. I'm gonna squeeze in the juice of one lime. I like to bump this sauce up with just a little bit more acidity, so I'll do about a tablespoon of white vinegar, and then just gonna hit it with a little bit of kosher salt. All right, so I'm gonna crank this up to high. You can make this as thin or as thick as you like it. It's meant to be a thin sauce. I mean, this is like that super hot red sauce you get when you go to the Mexican restaurant. So if you want to add a little water, you can. We just want to get that really nicely broke down. Do not recommend putting your face over the top of this right now, or you're going to lose it. I'm tempted to. All right, so it looks really nice. Great viscosity. Oh, spicy air. Let's give it a taste here in a second. Checking on our potatoes. Get some nice color going on. Starting to get soft. Those are just about done. All right, I'm gonna taste this salsa. It's spicy. It's good. When you get the tomato base, that spice just coats the tongue. You don't want to go too heavy on this stuff. It's so earthy though. The flavor is so big and earthy. Just the right acidity. I love right where that's at. All right, potatoes are looking good, so we're gonna pull those off now. All right, so next we're going to prepare our tortillas. We got the caramello pork fat tortillas. We're gonna toast one side first, and then we're actually gonna do a cheese skirt, kind of a toasted cheese thing on these. We'll get there in just a minute. So we're just gonna start to get these toasted, just like that, just on one side, and then we're gonna take them off. We're gonna hit this with just a little bit of tallow so there's less sticking. And then we're gonna come in with our Chihuahua cheese. And we're gonna take our tortillas, flip them, and put them right on top of there. All right, and it does not take long before that cheese is just crusted right on top of there. That's what we're going for. So now not only do we have a cheesy tortilla, but we've got all that extra texture on there as well. And when we've done this just right, it's not just texture, but there's like, see that ooey gooiness smashing up through there? Look at that. That's the magic. All right, so now we're gonna reheat our brisket slices here, where these are beef tallow injected brisket slices. So they've got plenty of fat on them. We just wanna get a sear and kind of warm them up. And at the same time, I'm gonna get our eggs going. Put a little bit of tallow down for our eggs to keep them from sticking. And pop these out one at a time to keep the yolk intact. All right, I'm gonna close up the lid just to keep all that heat in there. All right, we should be getting a nice little sear on these already. Yeah. Create a little crust, a little texture. Playing with my food over here. Yeah, that's looking good. Just about turn the heat off on these eggs now. They'll cook with the residual heat that's already left in that griddle. Now my perfect breakfast taco egg is either over medium or a sunny side up, but I like the white to be set and I like the yolk to be runny so it just like bursts on top of that taco, covers all of the fillings. We're getting really close. You can see still got to cook some whites here, but some of these are getting almost all the way there now. Let's go ahead and pull this brisket off of here. All right, so we're gonna start to build these tacos. Each one of our tortillas gets a nice slab of brisket. Let's go ahead and add to that some of our potatoes. All right, these eggs are done, so we're gonna pop them right on top. The brisket, the hash. We'll finish them off with some salsa. So like I said earlier, you don't want to go too heavy with this salsa right off the bat. It might be a little bit too spicy for some folks. That's it. Right before we get a bite here, just gonna go ahead and break that yolk open. Yeah. That's how it's done. Wow. So much texture in there. That cheesy crunch. That caramello tortilla never disappoints me. It was always amazing. The brisket is falling apart at this point. I mean, it was perfectly tender at the end of the brisket video. Now we've warmed it back up, put a crust on it, but then it just breaks apart, which is great. A little more substance out of our potatoes O'Brien, and then the dressing of the yolk over everything. My lips are already burning from the arbol. I love it.
Hey Tom, will it taco?
Yeah, Max, it'll taco. We should have got avocados.
Yeah, we should have.
Well, thank you guys for joining us while we have a little fun today. As always, you can check us out at atbbq.com. In the future, if you're watching our videos and you start to ask yourself, I wonder if that'll taco, let us know in the comment section. Ask us, hey, will that taco? And we'll check it out. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.